The hate army troll.
It's the hate army,
bro.
The hate army.
Shout
that
out
guy.
to hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
hate
out to
army.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out
Shout
for
out to
hate.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
So, when Street Fighter 4 came out, I exploded in popularity. All of a sudden, I started getting ridiculous amount, thousands of views. And again, videos could only be 10 minutes long. So I was putting out one video, all right, that was like a 2 to 3 minute match. And I would pump it out on my Dark Side Phil channel, and that video would get 5 to 10,000 views. So in one session of Street Fighter 4, I would put out 30 to 40 matches, and I would get hundreds of thousands of views on Dark Side Phil because of that session. It was insane. I mean, it was a wild time. Keep in mind, I made nothing on any of this. This was all for fun. Now, Armored Core 6 is an anomaly, I feel, because you guys wanted me to play it, so I did, but it looks like no one really cares about it. Like, I'm just being honest. I like the game. I played it the one session. I had a good time with it, and I'm actually looking forward to more. And I look at the videos on YouTube, and it's like, part 1 has like 2,000 views. Part 2 doesn't even have 1,000 views. For a new game, 1,000 people didn't even watch part 2. So that tells me everyone watched part 1 and was like, meh, and didn't even care about part 2. I think what it is with this game is that it's FromSoft, but it doesn't look like a FromSoft game. It doesn't play like a FromSoft game. It plays like a mech game, which is what it is. It's a mech game. Did you know that? Armored Core, you know, armor over a core of a unit that you drive around and you blow stuff up. That's what the game was. Kind of like, what did you guys think it was? I'm confused. I knew it was a mech game. That's why I told you guys I was probably going to skip it, because it wasn't in my wheelhouse. It wasn't my forte. I just find it weird that I had people who were yelling for me to play it. Someone donated it. That's why I'm playing it, and no one's been watching the playthrough. I'm like, maybe if I had raged and said the game sucked ass and was terrible and poorly made, maybe then people would have watched it, right? Negativity breeds attention on YouTube for some reason. Sorry, I like it. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that I enjoyed myself playing a new game from FromSoft. I really apologize that I wasn't raging and screaming and swearing. That, man, having enjoyment with the video game is such a horrible thing to do in 2023, obviously, right? I mean, whoa, I really goofed it up. But anyway, yeah, I don't know why people aren't catching on with it. I'm having a good time with it, all right? So I'm going to play it again on Tuesday. We'll see how that stream goes. And I guess off of there, we'll make judgments. Because remember, we were judging, is this going to be a full playthrough for me or not? Or is this something that I only play a couple of times and then I don't continue with? You know, I don't know what else to say. Now, I'm going to say one other thing. Because you always got to hear the negative people. You always got to hear the people who want to spin stuff in a negative way. I'm not kidding you. Yesterday was a very good day for me. It was a special fun day. We all relaxed. We had a good time together. The support was great. I made hundreds of dollars in tips, and there was memberships, there was super chats. Everything was great. There's actually people spinning this on the internet as a negative. Oh, this was Phil's 15th anniversary, and that's all he did. Haha, what a joke. And it's like, wait a minute. First of all, you got to understand something. For the level of viewership that I have on YouTube, you know, on any given day, what do I get? A few hundred viewers on a stream, a few hundred views on a video. If it's a popular game, a few thousand views on a video. For the level of following that I have on YouTube, okay, I have a tremendous amount of support. Do you understand that? Like, I'm probably one of the most supported small-time guys on YouTube. And the reason is because I've been around for 15 years, and I have a dedicated fan base who love what I do, and they will come and support it. Tomorrow is a continuation of Armored Core 6. I liked the game a lot, so apparently it sucks. I hate to say it, but that always seems to be the reaction of people on the internet these days. If DSP is liking a game, it must be too easy or it must suck. And that's bullshit, because the entire time that people were building up Armored Core 6, they were saying, oh, it's the next game from FromSoft, it's very different from the Soulsborne games. It's a tried and true franchise that hasn't been around in a while. We'd absolutely like to see you play it and you know, see if you like it. So I play it, and I actually really like it. By the end of the stream, I'm customizing my mech for a cool color scheme. I bought the, what is it, quadruped or whatever, the 4 legs that can hover. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can't wait to play again. And I'm very positive. I think the only negative I even had was in the first major boss, which is the helicopter. It's a little frustrating because the game hasn't fully explained the game mechanics yet. But I learned them on the fly, and within like 4 or 5 tries against the helicopter, I beat it. And then everything else was kind of fun, smooth sailing, good progress, upgrading in the mech, having a good time. Right? Having tons of fun. So immediately people are like, oh, this is boring. We don't want to see Phil enjoy a game. That's not allowed. We want to see Phil be frustrated and be tortured and have a bad time. So because Phil likes the game, immediately it can't be a good game. And if you take a look, I'm not even kidding you, the views on that playthrough, on demand on YouTube, are terrible. Even compared to any of the games I've played recently. Seriously. Like, it's pretty much on par with the first few parts of, like, Chrono Trigger. With the few, you know, every other game that I kind of played recently has done better. And I'm like, wow. So all that buildup, right, that people wanted me to play, I told you guys I was going to skip it, and then someone bought it for me because they wanted me to play it so bad. I play it, and it seems like no one really cares. That's disappointing. I hope that's not the case. I certainly hope that if you guys like that playthrough, you'll come tomorrow. We'll have another fun 3-hour stream. I've heard there are very challenging things coming up, that there is like a really tough boss in the game that all streamers are rage quitting on and not continuing on with the playthrough. So I'm going to continue tomorrow. Maybe we'll get to that boss. I don't know how deep into the game it is, but I just upgraded my mech to a different type, and I'm dying to try it, honestly. I'm actually excited about tomorrow's stream, and I hope you guys, again, will join me and give the game a shot. But to me, it was like, people were, oh my god, it's FromSoft. I start playing it, and the first hour, people are liking it because the helicopter's beating me. And then the moment I defeated the helicopter, it was like, all right, I'm out. See you later. And people left. They're like, wait, where are you going? Oh, well, you beat the hard part, so now, you know, we don't want to see you enjoy the game. We're just here to be toxic douchebags. And since you're doing good now, we're out of here. Oh, okay. Like, what the fuck? Really? Like, it baffles me. There was so many people asking me to play Armored Core. You must play Armored Core. You must not skip Armored Core. And I play Armored Core, and I'm liking it. Oh, well, now we're moving on. The game sucks. What the fuck happened? It's such a ridiculous thing. It is. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous when that kind of attitude hits, or, you know, it pisses me off. You know, I said I was going to take the time to put it into the schedule because you guys wanted it. And then I get that kind of response when I play it because I'm liking it. Again, if I hated the game, if I raged and I shat on it constantly, probably people would like it more. And that's what pisses me off too, because it's like, do you really want to see me just lie? Would you like me to just sit here at every game and act upset and get my blood pressure up and scream like an idiot? Is that what you want? You want a character. So I've had enough of the bullshit. And if I want to play Armored Core 6 and enjoy it, I should be able to. And not have people telling me, well, because you're liking it now, I don't want to watch you play it. What the fuck is that? If you, let me put it this way. If the only reason you ever want to see me play a game is because you want to see me dislike it and rage at it, then fuck off and don't suggest the game. I mean it. At this point in my life, I don't need toxic suggestions. Ever again. And if Armored Core 6 was a toxic suggestion, you're pretty pathetic and shame on you. Because the game actually is good and deserves to be praised for what I've seen of it so far. I'm not just going to shit on it because you're an idiot. And you want to see me get my blood pressure up and freak out. I'm not 5 years old. Alright? I'm not trying to copy the angry video game nerd in every video I do. I've become my own person, my own style of content that's meaningful to me and to my audience who comes by and supports me. So I don't need rage views, hate views, and nonsensical idiots coming by and trying to skew what I play and do. Alright? And by the way, I'm not saying that every person who wanted to see me play Armored Core 6 is of that mindset. But it certainly seems like there was a large group, because there were people campaigning to see me play Armored Core 6 pretty hardcore. And the moment I started playing it, oh, what's this? What the hell? Oh, he's not dying every 5 seconds. I don't get it. Right? So, there you go. Alright? Please understand that. And, I just had enough of the bullshit where again, if you are coming by only for toxicity and negativity, you're in the wrong place. Maybe old Phil, 10, 15 years ago, you would have been able to see that, you know? You'll see some of that when I play Street Fighter and I'm freaking out and my inputs are dropping, I'm having a bad night. But that's not what I'm all about. You're in the wrong spot, alright? So leave. And stop trying to fucking rain on everyone else's parade. And again, if you're someone who only wants that and that you're actually trying to skew my playing of games because of that, you're not wanted here. I'd much rather play games that are going to be meaningful, positive, fun experiences. Alright? I don't want to have toxicity permeating all of my content. I don't need it anymore. I'm too old for that shit. That's what gets me. On YouTube right now, if I made a video that said, this is the absolute best game I've ever played and you must check it out. And if I also made a video that said, this is the absolute worst game I've ever played and you must avoid it like the plague and here's why, let me rip it a new asshole, the negative video will get 10 times more views than the positive video. And I can outright show you evidence of that. Not skewed statistics, but realistic ones. All you gotta do is head over to my old edited content channel, KO Gaming. I made a video about how Homefront the Revolution was the worst game I had played to that point, and that video got over 1 million views within a couple of weeks. Then I made a video about how Uncharted 4 was my favorite game of the year, and here's why, and that video pulled in a couple tens of thousands of views, and that was it. That's the divisive difference between positivity and negativity, enjoyment and toxicity and hatred. I don't get it. In life, I would much rather be doing something that I enjoy than something that I hate. I would much rather play a game that I think is one of the best games I've ever played and share that with you than play a game that I think is a piece of overhyped, underdeveloped, unfinished dog shit and rip it a new asshole. But that's supposedly what people want to see, and that's what I don't understand. Why did so many people on Earth become so fucking negative and toxic? What happened to humanity? Was it always like this? Because I can tell you, back in the day, when I was doing YouTube videos, it was a mix. There definitely were people who were along for the ride, and when I played a great game, people loved that feeling of me enjoying a game and having a good time. My Game of the Year contenders always had the biggest views and big engagement, and everyone loved them. Now it's like, if, you know, because I rarely try to play bad games, oh, well, he's not raging anymore, so we don't care. Like, what? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm very upset about this. I am. Because does this mean that I'm not allowed to just enjoy what I'm doing anymore? I want to enjoy myself. I want to enjoy Armored Core 6. So far, I like it. I'm sure there'll be parts coming up that will be rage-inducing and challenging, but I'm actually having a good time with the game. So now, every time I play it, I have to expect that people aren't going to show up and support, that it's going to have terrible views because I like it? Huh? But if I hated it, and if my first video was, oh my god, the first boss is impossible, and these game developers are assholes for making it this hard, that video would have had 20,000 views. Right now, want to know how many views it has? 2,000 views on part 1. So what the fuck is wrong with people? Honestly, why do people only want this negativity? I don't get it. That's what irks me about Armored Core. And listen, I get it. If you watch me play a fighting game, if you watch me play a Soulsborne game, or maybe a first-person shooter online, and I'm raging, there's hilarity there. I get it. I understand it too. I like the fact that people tune into me for different reasons. But I don't think that just because I like a game, now my playing of that game, I should expect it to be like a big reduced amount of attention and success and support because I like it. That's insane. What is wrong with people that they're so focused on toxicity? Thanks to everyone who's checking out the content on DSP Reacts this week. There's quite a bit. You know, on Saturday we had my 15th anniversary React Marathon, of which there was 4 hours, of reacting content to video clips from my past. There was an hour where I talked about my history of how I became a YouTuber back in the day completely inadvertently. It was an accident. And then I talk about, well, then I had a meal with that my wife had made. So it was basically 6 hour-long videos going live. As of this morning, I believe hour 4 of the reacting should now go live, which means all the reacting stuff will be live on the channel. But what I will say is this. Out of all those videos that you guys are watching, I'm not even kidding you, half of them have already been flagged on YouTube, not fit for advertising. And it's funny because you watch it, you're like, what on earth is not fit for advertising? Literally nothing. Nothing at all. You know, one of them that I put out yesterday, which has pretty good views so far, was a video that in the title it says Suicide Kings. Now, what is Suicide Kings? It's when I was playing when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 1, and my friends and I were playing online, and we were finding ways to basically propel ourselves off of high areas for hilarious, ragdoll death animations, okay? It's not serious discussion of human suicide at all. But YouTube is so fucking stupid with its algorithms that the moment that it sees the word suicide, it flags the video as unfit for advertisers because it's moronic. It's an AI-run site that doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. So it always misappropriates this kind of flag to the wrong video. So, yeah, like basically almost all the videos I have over there don't make money. So it would be great, again, if you're watching the content over there, if you could contribute in some way, whether it be like becoming a member or considering like tipping or something like that would help a lot, because it really sucks. I can't make any money on those videos. By the way, the moment I uploaded them all, of course I apply and say, please review these videos for ads. It's now been 4 days and they haven't even been reviewed yet. So videos I uploaded on Saturday on YouTube that were these montages of me just reacting to clips from my past, and I was saying, hey, you know, can I monetize these? Oh, well, we flagged it because of various reasons of the AI. Okay, well, review them. 4 fucking days later, a human didn't review it yet. So what's the point of the system, right? There's no point to the system. If the system takes a week for them to do anything, then you might as well not even upload videos to YouTube, right? It says, I hope Starfield gets you lots of views. You know, these days, I just don't know what's going to get attention anymore on YouTube. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, there's some stuff that I think is going to be like a surefire hit, and people just, for whatever reason, don't care for it. And then on the flip side of that, sometimes there'll be stuff that I think ain't going to be a big deal, and then it does really well. If you had told me that the thing that was going to get the most attention over the summertime was my Grand Theft Auto 5 Anniversary Run playthrough, I would have told you you're crazy. I would have said, what are you talking about? I played this 10 years ago. I tried to play it again the year after. People weren't even interested then. You know, I don't think it's going to get that much attention. It'll just be something to kill time. It ended up having the most views of anything I've done over the summer. Figure that out. I never thought that was going to happen, right? Really. Resident Evil 4 Remake earlier this year. Listen, I know people like watching me play horror games, but I thought it would do all right. That was my best playthrough of this year so far. Yeah, it did really, really well. And then you look at other things, like I thought Armored Core 6 was going to be a surefire hit, and actually the views on the videos are not very good. For a new playthrough, they're quite low. So, that's what I mean. You never know. Now listen, with Starfield, there's a couple unique factors. Factor number one is that it's a Bethesda game, and people do enjoy watching me play Bethesda games. We've been doing one Bethesda playthrough a year these last few years. First it was New Vegas, then it was Skyrim, and then it was Oblivion. So it could very well be that another, you know, Bethesda game is going to be a good one and people are going to enjoy, especially because it's a new one. You don't know what to expect. That's actually the second half of the equation here, is that a lot of stuff is hinging on this game, or seems to be hinging on it. You know, everyone's saying, oh, will Xbox finally come out with a great game that will propel them into the gaming landscape, because Microsoft bought all these studios and nothing's really come out of them of any significance. Is this the comeback kid game for Bethesda, who put out Fallout 76 that sucked ass, right? Fallout 4, which was kind of a mixed bag. Like, when was the last time that they significantly put out a great game that was like a good new IP or something? They haven't in a long time. So a lot of people are kind of banking or hinging on this game as a make or break game for many reasons. So I think no matter what, I certainly think that there's going to be a million eyes on Starfield. But will Starfield be a popular playthrough for me? Will Starfield bring people to the streams and bring people to the videos? Will people support the playthrough? I have absolutely no clue. At this point, I don't even want to make predictions anymore. I've kind of gotten to the point that everything's kind of so random and all over the place that I don't even bother trying to predict how things are going to do around here. I can tell you this. Fallout 4 did really well. It did. Fallout 4, you know, people were coming to streams, supporting the heck out of them, you know, but that was a long time ago. So maybe things have changed. Maybe people don't care. I don't know. I guess we'll find out this Friday. You know, you guys campaigned to get me to play it early, so I just bought the early version for another $33. So I would hope that people would show up Friday and chill with me and hang out, and let's see what this game is all about, you know? Yesterday's streams, how did they go? Well, first of all, on the first stream, it was my second ever session of Armored Core 6. And then what happens is, you see a complete shift of attitude. People had been campaigning for me to play Armored Core 6. They said they absolutely wanted me to play it, that it's a FromSoft game I cannot miss, right? But now that I played it for 3 hours and I've enjoyed it, no one cares. Why? Because the people who primarily, not everyone, this is a generalization, so understand this is not every person, but a lot of people who were campaigning to see me play Armored Core 6 were my hate watchers. Okay? These are people who only watch my content because they like to see me fail and suffer. They're shitheads. Okay? There's some enjoyment in watching someone fail. I'll totally admit that. But if your entire focus on the internet is someone failing, trying to laugh at someone else's misfortunes, you are a fucked up human. And you really should reassess yourself with a professional help. But that's how some of these people are. There's a large group of thousands of people on the internet who this is what they focus on. So because I played Armored Core 6 on Friday and I actually enjoyed it rather than raged at it and failed at it, they didn't like that at all. So the whole narrative changes. Instead of Darkside Phil must keep playing Armored Core 6 because he's going to fail and rage, it's, oh, well, fuck that then, you know, forget it. Right? No views on the videos, no talk about it, nothing, right? Now, what ended up happening was after I talked about that on my podcast the other day, there was a group of people who were not like that, all right? And they actually genuinely did want to see me play the game and enjoy it because it's a new franchise that I've never touched before. There's been many of these long-standing franchises that I've never experienced, and this is just an example of one of them. And now seeing me actually get hands-on experience with the game, over the course of the weekend, people started to say, oh, this is kind of interesting. I actually want to see Phil continue because he's actually seeming to like it now. So what ended up happening was, even though the hate watchers were so butthurt that I liked the game, a few other people actually started to enjoy the content, okay? And so yesterday, my second session ever, all right, as I played it, all right, I tried a new build. I was trying the tetrapod build, which is the four-legged build where you can hover. Dude, it's so good. The hovering makes the game so different, but also so much better. The hovering and strafing gunplay, and then being able to just dodge in the air, makes so many things not as dangerous. You know, area of effect attacks, they don't really affect you because they have to hit you directly. They can't just hit you with splash damage when you're in the air. Just right there, it's making the game tremendously, you know, easier to manage. But in addition to that, you know, me learning new strategies and things, we did the arena fights and unlocked a bunch of upgrades, like the ability to heal more and get an actual shield that reduces damage. And then we got to the point of the game where I had heard from what you guys had told me and what the internet was abuzz about, all right? The point in the game that everyone was calling the skill check. This was the point of the game where supposedly a lot of gamers and streamers had quit the game on this boss. Now, I don't know. I'm not watching other gamers and streamers. You know me. I'm just playing my own thing. This is what people are telling me. This is what people all over social media are saying. That this was the big skill check for the game. And if you get past this point, you're pretty much full speed ahead. You're going to enjoy the rest of the game. If this point crushes you and defeats you and makes you rage, you're probably going to hate the rest of the game. And that's why a lot of people just quit it at that point. Okay? So, the point I'm talking about is the Baltius, no H in there, boss fight. This is a boss that when you face it, immediately introduces you to gameplay mechanics that didn't even exist before then. So you would have need to be psychic to know that these gameplay mechanics would have been in there to prepare for it. In addition, this is the first boss that essentially has multiple boss phases in the game, a la classic Soulsborne gameplay. So if you've played Soulsborne games before, you're used to it. However, if you never have, you're probably shocked. What the hell? Why is this boss changing forms and attack patterns in the middle of the fight? It also has some really overpowered attacks, and quite frankly, it seems to be exactly what people are describing it as, all right? It is a wall, and if you can find a way to climb over this wall or break your way through it, you'll probably understand the mechanics enough to do well for the rest of the game. And if you don't, you might as well quit then, okay? So, first of all, admittedly, you know, people on my streams are supportive and they want to see me succeed. And there was one particular person who had given me a little bit of a heads up earlier on in the stream. They said, you're going to want to buy a plasma gun. They didn't tell me why. They said, listen, you're just going to want to buy a plasma gun. And that's all they said. They said, just get one when you can do it. I said, okay, so I had bought it earlier on the stream before I ever got into this boss, not understanding why I needed the plasma gun. Well, without spoiling, it was this boss. This boss has a shield that needs to be downed And if you don't have a plasma gun, it takes a long time to get the shield down. But then once the shield's down, it has a second shield. Basically, it's the stun shield, the stagger meter, kind of like Sekiro. So it's like, first you have to take down the level 1 shield, then you have to do the stagger shield, then you can finally hurt the thing. So imagine doing all that and not knowing. But if you have the plasma gun can essentially cut through the first shield, so it takes out a lot of the difficulty of the fight. So admittedly, someone helped me ahead of time, not spoiling and explaining that, but basically just saying, get a plasma gun, you'll need it, okay? Now, in addition to that, there were some other gameplay mechanics in the game that had never been explained properly. I'm sorry, they just weren't. For example, there's a lock-on mechanic. I knew that, but I didn't understand that the lock-on mechanic in this game is different from that in Soulsborne games. In Armored Core, when you lock onto an enemy, you permanently lock onto the enemy. If that enemy flies behind you, you stay locked on. The difference is that your aim isn't as accurate when you're on the auto lock-on, okay? When you manually do the more manual lock-on, which is essentially don't do the R3 lock-on, you'll hit more. But it's more worth it, especially when you're fighting a tough boss. It seems to be more worth it to have the lock-on, especially if the boss is very maneuverable, because that boss could be zipping all over the screen, which is exactly what happens with Baltius. There's points where that boss will just decide, I'm just going to zip right by you and go behind you. So now you're trying to find, where did it go? Is it above me? Is it directly behind me? Sometimes you're like spinning around looking for this damn thing, and if you're not fast, he's going to pummel you with missiles. So you need to be on your toes. The lock-on system, never properly explained in the game. Sorry, it just isn't. I don't care what anyone says. I played every tutorial, and it was never explained. Okay? So someone explained to me how that lock-on system worked during the boss fight, so I could actually understand it and utilize it properly. Otherwise, I would have been flubbing around not knowing what to do, because once again, it's a case of another FromSoft game that doesn't really explain its mechanics to you. That's par for the course for FromSoft, though. Like, the nuances of the engine need to be discovered on your own, because they don't explain anything in any way of a proper fashion. I mean, some people will just be like, we'll just be used to that. Well, sorry, I still got to call it out. A spade is a spade, and a tutorial that doesn't fully explain all the gameplay mechanics isn't much of a tutorial. It never explained that. So here's the other half of the question, and I don't know if you guys could even answer this. This year, definitely there's been a decline in views, and it's weird because it happened about the middle of the year. Like, I would say views for like Resident Evil 4 Remake were still great, and then right around that time, I'd say probably like May, June, my views essentially did dip on YouTube. Okay, not streams. Streams are actually fine. Streams have not been affected at all. Okay, but overall, like on-demand video views on YouTube have gone down. Now, here's the thing. Do you want to know the truth? It really hasn't affected me at all when it comes to my income and stuff. My income remains that I'm making the same amount of money on YouTube, and I'm still making good money on the streams. So you know what that tells me? Essentially what happened is I lost viewership that did not positively help me in any way. Maybe it was toxic viewers. I don't know what it was. Maybe the toxic viewers left and went to watch restreams or something. I don't know. But it's funny because you would think, if Phil does a playthrough today and part 1 only gets like 5,000 views, but it used to be a big new game, I'd always get like 10,000 or more views. I actually got that on Resident Evil 4 Remake earlier this year. So where did the viewers go? How did I lose thousands of viewers, right? But if the answer is it was just the toxic assholes who were literally sitting there with ad block and they were just there to be dicks and they weren't helping you at all, then it doesn't matter. And that's the truth, is like I haven't actually seen a decline in income this year at all. Things have been steady or good. They haven't been bad. So that's why you haven't really even heard me say a word about it yet. I'm aware, looking at the videos and the video views I'm bringing in, that they're down. But it doesn't matter if the business is still doing fine. You see? If anything, maybe what's happened is the toxic people go and do their own toxic shit elsewhere, and only the positive people are here, and that's fine. It doesn't affect me. If the positive people are still here, then it doesn't matter. So, you know, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's just kind of, it's weird. It's a weird thing to see views go down, but the business is still completely viable and has not been affected in a negative way. I would like to say thank you for all of your support and remind everyone out there that if you like the content here on DSP Gaming or the React content over on DSP Reacts, that I am a crowd-funded individual. What does that mean? It means I am not making significant amounts of money from having videos on demand on YouTube. I don't have any product placements. I don't have any sponsorships or partnerships. I do not run advertisements often during my live streams, maybe once actively during an entire stream. Basically, over the years, what has happened is I have started to become a type of content creator who caters my content to my audience. I curate it for a specific group of people who are looking for someone who isn't a shill, who isn't sitting here with an agenda. I don't benefit by saying a game is good or bad, because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get paid to say it either way. I'm not going to get clickbait views because I said something, all right? My content is for a group of people who trust me and want honesty and transparency when it comes to what I say on my content. So there you go. Now, before we get into the ginormous news segment, because we got big news stories to talk about today, I would just like to remind everyone, I am an independent content creator. I'm not signed with anyone. I don't take sponsorships. I don't take partnerships. I don't have giant ad placements. Essentially, I'm in it to make content that I feel is transparent, honest, and fun for my audience. I never sold out. You don't see, paid promotion warning in the corner of my content. You don't see 400 ad breaks during my streams. That's on purpose, okay? It's done because I want you guys to enjoy the content and not feel like I'm a shill, because I'm not. I never want to be a shill sitting here just advertising to you all day long. I'm in it for making meaningful content for my audience. Admittedly, most of YouTube has changed over the years and they've gone to that model and I have not. The reason I'm able to not have to do that is because of you. Because you guys have crowd-funded my efforts to stay independent for the last 15 years. If it weren't for you in the last 6+ years supporting my change to being a full-time streamer and now a full-time YouTuber, none of this would have been possible. I enjoy making curated style content for an audience that enjoys it. I don't have to worry about having mainstream attention and viral views because I have an audience that's engaged enough that they love my content and they want it to continue, so they support it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for allowing me to continue to be successful. That being said, if you enjoy the content that I put out and you like the fact and appreciate the fact that I haven't become a shill and you like this kind of, style, please support it. So allow me to outline the ways that you can do that. Man. But great stream today of Starfield. If you've enjoyed the game so far, please check it out. I have noticed the views for Starfield have completely dwindled. If you take a look at the first 5 to 10 parts, did good. Now we're into the 20s, and basically a lot of people fell off. So I don't know if it's because people are playing the game themselves. If you're finding the game boring, that for me is confusing, because in my opinion, the game is picking up and getting better the further in I get. It's just like any other Bethesda open world RPG like Fallout or Elder Scrolls. And the thing is, you guys seem to love when I play those games. I mean, you've requested every year that I go back and play New Vegas, Skyrim, Oblivion. People are asking next year, will you play Fallout 3 or Fallout 4? If you love those, I don't know why you wouldn't like Starfield. It's basically the end game of that with some other stuff in there. Yes, there's definitely some shortcomings there, but I had a great time today. Lots of combat, lots of fun, like a good variety of stuff. Please give it a look if you've been, enjoying the playthrough. I don't know why the viewers fell off. I hope that you'll get caught up, all right? I hope you enjoy the gameplay. That is it for Street Fighter 6 for a couple of weeks. What's coming up? Well, tomorrow I'm off. Hope you all have a safe and fun day. Please enjoy the gameplay. I hope you'll engage with it. I hope you enjoy it. I have noticed, last week, views dripped dramatically on DSP Gaming. Looks like no one's really keeping up with a lot of these playthroughs. Sad, but what can you do? There's new stuff coming. Friday, Mortal Kombat 1 all day long. I dropped the over $120. Yes, that's how much it was for the game tonight, so I could play it when I come back on Friday. I'll be doing the story all day long, both streams. Why am I different from everyone else? Because I pride myself on the fact that because I am not beholden to anyone, I can say whatever I want and be completely transparent and honest with all of you. When I'm rating Mortal Kombat 1, I don't have to kiss its butt because I didn't get a copy free from NetherRealm, and I don't have to worry about hurting anyone's feelings so I don't get the next one for free. At the same time, I don't benefit when I slam a game. If I sit here and I crap all over a new release, it's not like I'm going to get clickbait views or anything like that. I'm doing too small time for that. So being honest is actually a staple part of my content that I really enjoy and cherish, because for 15 years, it's allowed me to give you honesty through everything that I do on the internet. That's pretty good. When a lot of people can't do that, and you see, oh, just put up with my paid promotion or whatever, you don't ever have to do that, all right? The major reason is because of you, because you guys support me. And I really appreciate the fact that I have an audience of dedicated viewers who like my content and want to see it continue, so they crowdfund me. I don't know what's going on with YouTube today. Like, my viewer count is very weird. Here's what I mean by that. Typically when I start the podcast, all right, it'll be around, say, between 100 and 200 viewers. As I was starting the podcast today, it said I had 90, which is weird, but then it skyrocketed and said I had 130, then it said I had 80, then it said I had like 100, and it's kind of been pinballing all over the place. And it never usually does that. And I've noticed this, it looks like viewership on YouTube, there's some weird way that it's changed the way that it's being calculated. It's just odd. And again, it doesn't really affect anything. But I just want you guys to know, if you're watching live and you're like, why does it say we have this many viewers? Then it's way low, then it's high, then it's low, then it's high. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it's accurate or not. It's not a big deal. I broadcast for my audience every day, regardless if there's 5 viewers or 5,000. I really don't care. I'm just having a good time. So as long as it's working for all of you, and I did ask everyone in the chat, I said, the stream seems to be working correctly for everyone, right? Like, you can watch it, you can hear it. Everyone seems to say it sounds and looks the same. So I don't know what's up with the YouTube view counts bouncing all over the place this morning. If you're watching on demand, it likely is not going to affect you. Maybe it will, I don't know, because I don't know if like view counts on videos have also been affected. I told you guys I'd say the last month to 2 months, I've noticed a distinct dip in viewership in my videos. But the weird part about that is I haven't seen any decline in support or income. And what I mean by that is, like, my ad revenue has remained the same. My my membership revenue has remained the same or been better. So if I have less viewers, why would all my income be exactly the same? Doesn't seem to make sense, does it? You would think if you have a decline in viewership that you would have a decline in support, but I haven't, which leads me to believe something's going on with YouTube, that maybe they changed the way that views are being calculated. It could be. I really don't know. It's also weird because, for example, the last couple of days we've had more people on stream supposedly to watch Mortal Kombat 1. I've seen my streams having 400, 500, 600 viewers, but the chat seems exactly the same, which doesn't make sense. If we have hundreds more viewers, why is no one talking? That doesn't seem to make sense, does it? I'm just confused. But again, for me, I am a different kind of content creator than most. I'm making content for a smaller, more dedicated audience that likes what I do the way I do it, so it's curated content. You understand? If people from outside of my regular channels happen upon my content and watch it and enjoy it, great, welcome. You have to become a subscriber of the channel to talk in the chat. Just so you know, it's a 24-hour sub mode because there's so many trolls and things with bots and stuff. It has to be like that. We had it before that. It was a nightmare. No one could talk. It was nonstop spam and bots, okay? So welcome to everyone who is maybe a newcomer. But I do find it odd that recently there's all this weird stuff. View counts seem to be lower. Views are bouncing all over the place, yet somehow I'm not affected. I don't get it, you know? Like, see, the thing is, I don't really care. I'm making content as long as you guys like it and things haven't, you know, declined, which they haven't, you know, I'm happy. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for enjoying. Don't worry too much about it. I'm certainly not worried. You know, I don't care. Right now it says we have 179 viewers. Typically on a podcast, we'd have between 200 and 300 and then increasing at the beginning of the show. Sometimes we have more than that if it's like a new release. So maybe it's just because today's React Day and there's less attention. It could be accurate. I don't know, but it was weird that it was bouncing all over the place earlier. Don't worry about it. The sky is not falling. The world is not ended. It doesn't matter what the views are on individual videos. Everything seems to be fine. Okay? So there you go. Someone, Acid Face says, maybe they only count logged in views now. I mean, that would be a huge change because tons of people who use YouTube don't log in. They just go to YouTube and click on a video and watch, and then they're out of there. They don't have an actual account they're logging into. You think that could be the case? Maybe that is the case. Maybe they're not counting logged in views anymore. See, the thing is, it doesn't matter. Back in the day, I actually got paid based off of views. I didn't get paid off of ad revenue or anything like that. I had flat rate contracts with Machinima back in the day where I would get paid based off of views. So if I had a view dip, I'd be super concerned. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to take a pay cut now because YouTube's not counting views properly. Today, I could not give a crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, I could not give a crap. That's all I have to say. Anyway, so let's continue positively, shall we? All right. Again, very different feeling in the modern day versus 10 years ago when I had backlash for playing classics. All right. So I want to say thank you so very much to those who attended the streams, to those who watched and are still watching that playthrough on demand, because I know for a fact there are people still in the midst of the playthrough. It's a lengthy one. All right. And, of course, particularly a shout out to those who supported that playthrough, whether it was simply engaging with the streams and the videos, maybe a super thanks, or super chat, super sticker, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips. All that stuff made that playthrough possible. You understand? Because a lot of people are, it's just a classic, I'll skip it, it's boring, slow, I'll come back when there's a new game. But the fact that people showed up and supported those playthroughs, those retro playthroughs that I do, means that I can play them. You understand? I'm happy that in today's audience, I have the ability to be flexible and I can balance games. I can play a new game with an old game and it all balances out and it works. Back then, I couldn't do that. That summer, my views plummeted because I played retro games and I lost tons of money. Seriously, it was one of the slowest summers I'd ever had at that point being a YouTuber, just because I chose to play some classics. And it's like, wow, I'm beholden to my audience. I have to kind of almost obey the demands of this almost, I hate to say it, a lot of entitled people back then. It was like, oh, we are, our views determine what you do. So if we don't want classics, we're just refuse to watch anything you do for 3 months and we'll come back when the new games come out in the fall. I was like, wow, that's kind of messed up. Because the way I saw it back then was I thought that I was having a chill gameplay time with my audience. It wasn't. It really wasn't the case, But then things change over time. And today I do feel like things are very different today. In the way that the content that I put out and the way that people react to my content. And that's a good thing. I have way more fun today. I feel like we have way more personal, social interactions on the streams. It's more meaningful to play Chrono Trigger in 2023 than it was in 2013 because of the kind of YouTube audience that I now have. It's much smaller, that's for sure. Back then, we're talking every video I pumped out got thousands of views. Seriously, even a playthrough that was slow got thousands of views per video. Today, I push 300 views a video, right? So, it is what it is, but hey, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. Comment Frenzy, stop right now. I'm just going to say that. Don't repeat what you're saying. You're saying toxic stuff in the chat. Nobody gives a crap. Just stop repeating it. Nobody gives 2 craps. Thanks. Okay. So, that summer was a summer of pain and suffering, but was one of my most successful summers I ever had. I'm not kidding you. I made insane amounts of money that summer. I made more money that summer than I did that fall. Think about that. Then in the fall with all the new gaming releases, I made more money during the summer playing classic GTA than I did during the fall. That was pretty wild. The views were sky high. I mean, every video I put out of those playthroughs was getting tens of thousands of views, and the videos were 10 minutes long. I want you to think about that. In a given day, I would play GTA. Let's say I was playing San Andreas. I would play it for 7 hours that day. Each hour was 6 videos. Do the math. I was putting out 30 to 40 videos a day, and each video was getting 10,000 views. So in one day, I was getting about 500,000 views. And that persisted all summer. So, that was a crazy summer. The next summer comes along, and what I'm hoping is that I have gotten enough good faith in my audience now on YouTube that I can play whatever I want and people will actually watch it and appreciate it. Okay? So I decided that I wanted to do a summer of retro. Why? Because much like the summer before where those GTA games meant a lot to my audience, the games that I wanted to play during the summer of retro meant a lot to me. These were all games from my childhood that I enjoyed so much, including Link to the Past, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, Chrono Trigger, and Earthbound, to name a few, because I think there might have been a few more, but I can't really remember. And I absolutely felt that my audience was going to be like, wow, this is cool because we see a different side of Phil. Instead of him raging and instead of him rushing through these games, he knows what he's doing because he has passion, and we're going to see his enjoyment, and we're going to like these. Literally the opposite happened. Imagine you're going into something with a positive expectation that your audience will appreciate what you do, and instead you get nothing but criticism and negativity tossed your way. I saw record low views, tons of thumbs down on the videos. That's also what gets me. They thumbed down the videos. I want you to think about that. Just because I wasn't playing a new hot game or a GTA or a gory game or a fighting game, because I chose classics, people were coming in droves and thumbing down the videos for playing classics. That killed me because that hurts my channel's algorithm. You know what I mean? That actually hurts the momentum of my channel. That really hurt. And it did hurt my feelings, admittedly. I remember I was very upset because here I am thinking that people are going to appreciate the fact that I'm doing something outside the box that I wouldn't do, and I want to share my passion for games with my audience. And quite frankly, my mainstream audience didn't appreciate it. I'm absolutely sure there were people who did, of my core audience, but the people who were the mainstream YouTube viewers just didn't get it. And they started leaving really negative comments on the video. Oh, what you're a dinosaur. You're so off base. You have no idea what modern viewers and gamers like and want. Why would you do this? It's the worst summer you ever chose. I mean, you got to understand, even people like the Arid Lore, who was one of my biggest fans, was coming out saying, oh, I don't really like this. This is boring. I was like, you're kidding me, you know? So it really hurt. And I remember getting very upset and kind of arguing with the audience. Now, see, that's the difference. Today, if we have a disagreement, we'll talk it out. I want to understand your perspective, and we come to an arrangement of understanding. Even if we agree to disagree, that's today. 10 years ago, I was a different dude. 10 years ago, it was like, how dare you not agree with me that these games are great classics? How dare you not like these playthroughs and thumb down my videos? I got actually like legit upset and heated over this with my audience. You know what I'm saying? And exactly. Canadian Kirk says, my way or the highway. Exactly right. That was my mentality back then. Listen, if you don't like my content, you don't have to watch it. Get the fuck out of here. Instead of saying, hey, okay, let's talk a little bit about why you're not liking what I'm doing. Maybe we can adjust on the fly. Maybe we can do, you know, I didn't do any of that back then. I literally did not take feedback. It was, I'm going to do what I want, and you deal with it. And so, yeah, that's really why I feel that summer failed as bad as it was. And I think that's why a lot of people got upset, because they started looking at me as a guy who's like, listen, this guy just doesn't listen to feedback. He's not growing. He's just staying like this big kind of like pig-headed dude. And we don't want to be a part of that. We'd rather have someone who wants to talk and hang out and interact, and you know what I mean? And I get that. It's different today, for sure, than it was back then. Today, I'm very open to listening to your constructive suggestions. And listen, there's still assholes out there who come and they insult and all that. But I'm talking about people who come here with constructive criticism, suggestions for improvement. I listen to that now. And I understand that I am not some infallible dude. In fact, I'm a very fallible guy, right? I am. I'm very flawed, and I do my best to improve myself based on feedback. I try to make more meaningful content for you guys now, and I hope that you like that. That's what I said. Playing Chrono Trigger 10 years ago versus today was completely different. I feel like they're two completely different playthroughs, right? Same game, but what a different mentality, what a different style, what a different person I am now, and I'm happy for that. I really am. So, thank you for understanding. Someone like Spawn Killer here, who years ago got very upset with me because I got upset with him, right? I understand a lot. That was the turning point. You got to remember, it was around late 2011, 2012, and then 2013 were the years where This Is How You Don't Play started becoming very prominent and exploding on the internet. So that was when the big anti-DSP movement began on YouTube, and it became more fun to make fun of me than to even enjoy content along with me. So that summer of retro was the tipping and breaking point for a lot of people. It really was. And that sucks, because I feel like today I'm a better person, but how many people just don't care or don't listen? They won't actually come and check out my content. They'll just believe all the memes, all the tropes, all the bullshit about me, and never come back and give it a shot. And then people who do come back and give it a shot a lot of the time say, whoa, this is totally different. He's not even the same guy. It's a totally different style. It's totally different content now. This is actually relaxed and fun, which is what we wanted back then, right? We didn't get it. Now we get it because he listens, but, you know, it's too late. His reputation is completely destroyed and no one really gives a shit. Everyone would just rather laugh at him than give him a chance. You're right. But I'm still happy to be able to still be here and do what I do for a living. I'll never be some big shot. I'll never be virally popular. I'll never have a tenth of the views today that I had back then. Seriously, back then, there were months at the height of my YouTube popularity, I was bringing in over 10 million views a month on DSP Gaming. Today, I don't get 1 million. Yeah, but you know what? I'm happy with what I have. I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm grateful that you guys still allow me to be who I want to be and to make the content I want to make through your support. Thank you so much for that. To Spawn Killer, I want to personally say I apologize to you if you took offense at anything I did 10 years ago, because I know back then I was a different guy. I was very defensive. Again, my shit didn't stink, right? That's how I acted. And a lot of my attitudes back then were very unwarranted and basically not worth your time. And I hope that I've earned back your viewership with my change in attitude over the years. Thank you for that. Okay. Cool. That's all I really want to say. The first 5 parts are already live on DSP Gaming. Give them a look. Thank you to those who already have. And if you were kind of waiting because you wanted to play it yourself, you didn't even know it was going to be out, I don't blame you. It was a shocking twist that it came out early. But it's worth the watch, and it's worth playing. If you were on the fence, you're like, you know, I like FromSoft, but I didn't know if this game was going to be good because it ain't made by FromSoft. You're going to really like this game, in my opinion. I really do think you will enjoy it. It's funny because I actually heard a couple content creators got the game early because there's a premium edition of the game that came out last week if you paid extra. So a few content creators were given the early version, and a few of them who had no intention of playing the game literally just shat on it, saying things like, oh, it's just a pale comparison to FromSoft. Don't play it. They did it on purpose to get clickbait views. But now that the game is out, people are realizing how good it is, and now those assholes have egg all over their face for saying that to try to just get clickbait because they didn't feel like playing the game. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's continue on, shall we? Oh, we are on the way to getting Lily to Master. Great progress in Lies of P. Everything outstanding. All right? Now, I talked about this earlier today. I'll talk about it on the podcast tomorrow. It looks like YouTube is doing something with views. And what I mean by that is views are looking way low when they're really not. Just so you guys know, if you're watching like Lies of P or a playthrough and you're like, I wonder why the video views seem so low. I don't know if it's legit or not. I don't know if YouTube is using a new method to calculate views on videos. What I can tell you is this. It's not affecting me or my business. Like, everything is fine. Income is good. Nothing has been affected. You would think that if views were actually really far down, that ad revenue would have plummeted. I would have seen it. So I don't really get it. It looks like all the videos I put out in the last week and a half have been like really bad views, but in reality, it hasn't affected me. It makes me feel like YouTube is changing something or messed something up in the way they're displaying views. I don't know. Just give you some perspective, because I talked about this before I had done some gameplay earlier today. I'll talk about it on the podcast probably tomorrow. There's a Street Fighter channel that I follow, and this is a channel that posts up high-level gameplay from the best players in the world. You know, it basically archives their online matches so you can watch them back. So whenever I'm going to play Lily, or I'm going to play Blanca, or I'm going to play Honda, or Luke, or Zangief, or anyone, and I watch some videos the night before, this is the guy I watch. Always, this guy's videos got upwards of thousands of views, sometimes hundreds. It depended on the character, you know, but mostly, you know, pretty decent viewership for just random matches. Now, for the last week, every video he's put up has not cracked double digits. They've basically got like 10, 20 views, and that's it. It's like, what? Well, the guy didn't get blacklisted from YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do anything wrong. No one hates this guy. It's like, the videos didn't change in the content. Why would there only be 20 views on a video that a week or two ago was getting hundreds to thousands of views? Something's up. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you're watching all the content on the channel, if you're enjoying Street Fighter, you're enjoying Lies of P, like I'm loving Lies of P, don't judge the quality of the game or the quality of a playthrough by the view count on my channel. I don't know what it is, but the stuff's good. Just watch it and ignore that nonsense, okay? And thank you, because you are, I mean, like I said, I've not seen any significant dip in anything. Everything's going fine, so that means it must be something with view recognition or something, but if it doesn't affect me, I don't really care, all right? Just enjoy the content, and thank you, because today was a very supportive day, okay? Tomorrow's Saturday. You asked for it, you got it. Tomorrow is a major stream. Before we get to any topics today, Because what I like to do is talk about my games that I played yesterday, the schedule for the week, and then these news topics. There is a hot topic of discussion that I would like to discuss with all of you. And I want to let you know that it's not a big deal whatsoever. That's why I want to address it formally on the podcast. And I hope that you guys who are maybe wondering a little bit, this will alleviate any fears or anything. So you may have noticed something in the last couple of weeks on YouTube. Particularly, I noticed it obviously looking at my content, but then I started looking at other people's content as well, and I noticed it's not just me, it's across the board that something is going on with YouTube. If you're not aware, something is happening on YouTube where they are changing it either has to do with some kind of an algorithm or it has to do with the way that views are being calculated on videos. Okay? Now, before anyone freaks out, I just want you to understand something. I get absolutely nothing positive based off of views. Alright? Zero. The days of me being partnered with a company that used to pay me per view and stuff are long in the past. Those are ancient days. So, view counts on YouTube really only count as a public-facing way to judge popularity. Well, guess what? I'm not Mr. Popular, and I never will be. That's not what I'm aspiring to be. That's not what I care about. I don't care about viral popularity or people finding my videos randomly on YouTube and joining or anything like that. As you know, I make my content for a group of people who really like me, who understand the kind of content creator I am, and want to support that independent style. You see? It's called curated content. It's made specially for a particular audience. And I like the fact that I'm the size that I am, because I'm not tiny, but I'm not big. I'm at a level where I can have fun social interactions with you guys and make what I feel is meaningful content, okay? There was a time when it was all about the views, and there was competition for day one views and all of that, and those things are long in the past. For me, it's not a concern. But I have noticed a buzz and people talking about stuff recently, and I'm like, well, let's address it. Let's address the elephant in the room. You may have noticed that in the last few weeks, for some reason, it looks like viewership on DSP Gaming has dwindled a bit. And you're like, well, I don't get it. Phil's playing big new games, like the Mortal Kombat story mode or Lies of P. I mean, Lies of P is huge. People were interested to find out if this game that's not from FromSoft would play like a FromSoft game, and it's great. Like, I'm absolutely loving the game. It's everything you would want from this style of game. It's just as good as a FromSoft game, in my opinion. Every time I stream it, viewers come out to support and enjoy, and they treat it like a FromSoft game. So why on earth are the views for my playthrough seemingly really low? Part 1 of the playthrough only has 3,000 views. Even for any new game, that's low. If you take a look at the other games that I've been playing recently on this channel, Starfield has over 6,000 views for part 1, right? Armored Core, a game that, honestly, I don't think a lot of people really cared that much about, had over 4,000 views for part 1, right? So why on earth would this playthrough only have 3,000 views on part 1 and then basically only 1,000 views for every other part after? It seems a little weird, doesn't it? Now, the thing is, if you take a look at other playthroughs I've done this year, they vary. Earlier this year, some playthroughs were doing superbly well. Like when I did Resident Evil 4 Remake, that did really good views for the channel. Like probably the biggest playthrough I've done all year long. And other playthroughs followed suit. But it seemed like at some point during the summertime, alright, my viewership dwindled a little bit. Admittedly, you knew that would happen. Why? Because I was playing a ton of Street Fighter 6 and a bunch of RPGs. Let's be honest, the RPGs weren't that great. Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, they were boring to follow along, especially Final Fantasy 16. That game was a snore fest, right? I did some retro stuff, but I wasn't expecting to get giant viewership playing Chrono Trigger. You see what I'm saying? So, in general, it wasn't a big deal. But then when I start playing newer games, you're like, well, you think that, the views would spike again. And they definitely haven't. So looking at this, the last couple of weeks, I've noticed this pattern. And the thing is, and this is why I'm telling you it's not a concern for me, my revenue, meaning what I make, has not gone down in any way, shape, or form. Because I track it every day. On YouTube it says, here's what you made on YouTube today, and I see what I make on a stream in a day. Literally has not been affected in any way. Things are good. You guys are supporting the streams. The ad revenue on YouTube is the same. So, just think about that. If you're getting distinctly less views, how on earth could ad revenue be the same? It wouldn't make sense. Ad revenue is based on how many people watch your videos with ads enabled. So you're telling me that on a new playthrough, typically in the fall, especially at one like Lives of P, I definitely thought was going to be bigger, okay? You're telling me on a playthrough like that, right, that with a significant decrease in viewership, supposedly, that I'm making exactly the same ad revenue. How does that make sense? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. So, you scratch your head like, how does that make any sense? Maybe it doesn't at all. Maybe it's just a thing on YouTube that they've done, and somehow they're not counting of partial view as a whole view. Maybe they're cutting out certain kinds of views. Maybe they literally just tweaked a formula and it screwed everyone's view counts up. I have no idea, okay? I don't know. And the thing is, there's no way I would know. YouTube doesn't say shit about this kind of stuff. In fact, when you usually ask YouTube, they'll deny. Years ago, they absolutely denied the fact that people were getting unsubscribed to channels when we had empirical evidence it was happening, okay? Now, of course, my naysayers and hate watchers would say, well, this is only you, it's because no one likes you. Ridiculous. Like I said, my streams have been doing well. I've been getting great consistent viewership, great support, everything there is fine. And the thing is, I decided to compare this with other YouTube channels, okay? Directly comparing my channel with others, I've seen exactly the same patterns. For example, I'll just give you one example that I 100% noticed. There is several channels that I look at, okay? But these channels that I look at for Street Fighter 6, okay? Whenever I'm going to play a character in Street Fighter 6 during a ranked session, typically what I would do is I would look online for gameplay from top players. So for example, if I'm going to play with Lily, well, I'm going to look for footage from Hibiki, and there's two really top Lily players. And so I always look for videos of them that people archive. And what they do is they take their online matches and they edit them out so you can see some really high level play of matches that they've won or matches that were really close, so you can at least learn from watching them, right? And these channels typically get anywhere from a few hundred views to upwards of thousands of views, depending on the video, the character selection, who's playing in the match, etc. I've noticed that Zangief matches have skyrocketed recently. Why? Because Snake Eyes, the best Zangief player in the world, just a week or two ago won that Capcom Cup qualifier, and now everyone wants information on Zangief, okay? So, I watch these videos, and I just, on a whim, because I was, going to play Ranked Street Fighter the other day for the first time in a week, I went back to the channel and I go to look. I'm like, what just happened? So here's the deal. This channel, that just one of the many that I watch, but this particular channel, because it had footage of Lily on it, usually gets hundreds to thousands of views per video. All of a sudden, about a week and a half ago, this channel's videos went down to double digits. Can't even crack 99 views on a single video on the channel. And these are videos that have been up for 2, 3, 4 days, and they have like 50 views. Huh? But it's the same channel. The channel content didn't change. You know what I mean? The guy didn't get banned from YouTube or whatever. So why has the viewership gone from thousands or hundreds to 50? You tell me. Is it suppression? Is it that YouTube has kicked it so far out of the algorithm for some reason that no one can find that content unless they already know it exists? Does it not show up in the search engine anymore? Is it that YouTube is counting views differently? I don't know. And I went and I checked on about 4 different like Street Fighter channels, and they were all suffering the same thing. Now, I'll be honest. One thing I did notice, it doesn't seem to affect big people, because big people already are virally known. So whenever a big person, makes a video, there's already so many people going in there that likely the aggregate views kick it into the algorithm and people are finding it anyway. But it might be that basically they changed the algorithm yet again, so now only people who actively check your page can find your content, and it literally is not getting suggested to anybody else. So imagine if you're a small-time YouTuber and you're trying to get noticed and you make a unique video, but just because you're a small-time YouTuber, your video will never get found. Even if it's pertinent to what someone's looking for on YouTube, your video will never be selected to be suggested in a search result. But a big YouTuber who's already on top, theirs always gets suggested, even if it's not even pertinent to what you're looking for. Could be what's going on. I don't know. I don't care. Because, again, it won't affect me. What I'm looking at is viewership, and I'm like, even though it's claiming that overall views on my channel are good, the video view count looks low. Just think about that. It's telling me my views are on par with what I usually get, but yet all the videos I'm putting out seem to have lower views. How does that make sense? It doesn't. There's something weird going on, okay? I don't know what it is, but I don't want anyone to panic because it doesn't really affect me. You got to remember something, okay? My business operates on crowdfunding primarily. It's revenue from people who support the content directly. As long as you're watching it, you're engaging with it by liking streams and videos you're enjoying, by leaving comments on videos, by interacting with me on the streams, and then for those who go above and beyond with super chats, super stickers, memberships, gifted memberships, and tips. When that stuff keeps going on, that ad revenue factor isn't a huge factor. It is there. Don't get me wrong. Ad revenue does happen. And in fact, the next few months, it's typically October, November, December. These are the 3 huge months for advertisements on YouTube where ad revenue will spike. Typically, I would see a little bit of an a little bit of an increase in ad revenue for these 3 months. It's usually not a ton, but it's a bit, you know. Now I'm going to keep my eye on it. I'm curious, will this actually not happen this year? Will there be no increase because YouTube is essentially suppressing views on content and only promoting the ones that they think are good? I don't know. But the good news is, I am kind of immune from it. I've built this model, this business model, that's very different from what a lot of other people are dependent on. Most people are dependent on the ad revenue on YouTube or paid product placements. That's literally where all their money comes from. That's not where any of my money comes from. It all comes from crowdfunding and your support daily. So as long as you like the content and you support it, I'm here and I ain't going anywhere. I don't care how low the views get. I know people are watching because people interact with me every day. We're talking with each other. We're hanging out. The content's getting watched and it's being supported. So I have nothing to be afraid of. But whenever YouTube has something going on like this, people freak out. Oh my God, I see that this is down and that is down. The sky is falling. The sky is falling. It's Chicken Little mode, right? It's not. It's really not. I've been through this a million times in my YouTube career of 15 years now, and it's not a giant deal as long as we stay the course and everyone just keeps enjoying what they're watching. Don't care about the view count. I don't. I know when I play these games, I have a great time. I enjoy them. I love the podcast with you guys. The React Show once a week is great. So as long as we like the content and people support it, then who cares what the view count says, right? It doesn't matter at all. You know what they said is that you can be completely set for life based on essentially having a customer base of about 1,000 customers, you know, and in any kind of business. So, hey, as long as I got 1,000 people who like what I do and they come by and they support, I don't really care what YouTube says about views. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Now, I would hope that YouTube doesn't pull the rug out from under me on ad revenue because, like I said, it's not giant, but it is a chunk of income every month. And I wouldn't want to see that go away. But at the same time, I'm looking and it says it's not. You know, it hasn't said, oh, your revenue dipped. So it doesn't make sense. You know, it just, again, it seems to me like something has happened. It's just another algorithm change, another way that things behind the scenes change by these code monkeys who just keep typing code and kicking it out there into the wild without explaining to anyone how it's going to change stuff. So once again, the big wigs, the ones on top, stay on top, and everyone else gets pushed down, swept under the rug. That's how YouTube's been now for a good 8 to 10 years. And it just keeps going that way, where it only supports the top dogs and keeps making them popular and famous while everyone else is like, oh, well. But you know what? I'm okay with that. Really, I'm okay. Listen, I'm happy where I am. Thank you all. Don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm literally not worried at all. It's I keep seeing people bring it up. Oh, my God, look at the views, the views, the views. Like, who cares about the views? The views don't mean shit. The views never meant anything, you know? Since my partnership with Machinima ended, you know, 2017? And even then, I wasn't on a per-view contract for like 2-3 years before then. So you're talking like 2014, 2015 was the last time the actual view count mattered for anything important on YouTube besides popularity club. Because that's really what it is. It's like high school. Oh, who's in the popular group and who's not. Oh, sorry, I'm not in the popular group of YouTubers who literally do everything to shill every fucking product, to milk their audience, and to make money every second. You know, I'm over here making curated content for people who I have a social relationship with and we care about each other because we're small time, right? So we get it. It's a little different, right? And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that we have that rather than being this fucking pseudo celebrity sucking money out of people all over the globe. I don't care about that shit. So I'm very happy that it's a different situation. But at the same time, you gotta hope that YouTube allows you to keep having a living on that situation, you know? I'm okay. Like I said, don't worry about it. But I want to get this out of the way and talk about it today, address it. Don't know what's going on with these views on YouTube. Don't really care. I'm having a good time. As long as you guys are still here and supporting, it doesn't really matter. You know, we're going to be all right. I purposefully pushed myself away from that model of popularity and all that bullshit so that we could still have a good time together and not worry about, oh no, because YouTube made another algorithm shift. Now everything's fucked. I changed from that so that we're not relying on that anymore. And that's a good thing.
Typically helps me more than anything.